Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Connor on Connor's Retribution Analysis, and this is the first game of the I5 team tournament, which I am very excited for. And I get matched into Siege 1. Our Minoth player kind of gets a rough matchup, but everything besides that is kind of pretty good, either green or yellows. And so we're pretty happy with the matching process, I think. And yeah, I was pretty happy going into Signar. They put him down against me, and I just jumped right on that. The original history with me was that the reason why I jumped on Vyros 2 for so long was I started playing this game when Signar was at its kind of height of power, and its height of power lasted for quite a while. You know, there was the Haley 2, there was the Haley 3, there was the Nemo 3 Stormlances, and there was the Nemo 3 Storm Striders, then there was the Caine 3 Charger Spam, and then there was the Haley 3 Trenchers. All these things, Vyros 2 was either 50-50 into or advantaged into. Everything that Signar has put out pretty much, Vyros 2 has consistently been a really good drop into. The combination of the speed, the shield guards, the deceleration, Signar isn't prevalent with Blessed. The damage and accuracy and survivability of Vyros 2, all those things combined, being able to see through clouds in the Haley 3's case, all those things combined are really great into Signar. So this is a drop that I'm really comfortable with. Siege 1 is really good, an absolute monster. Has pretty decent options into Vyros 2, but it's something that I feel versed in. It's something I feel like I can play competently. So now let's get right into my mistakes. The objective. I choose the objective to be attack and damage reroll. It should obviously be Pathfinder, because Imperitus, his whole goal in this game is to get right there and then take something drastically important that's going to win me the game. Either he gets placed by Trident, or he's going to go kill a Storm Strider and make attrition unbearable, or he's going to kill the objective on his way to taking out a Storm. You know, he's going to do some serious amount of work. And if I cast Easy Rider for it, it's doling the effectiveness, because I want to be putting out deceleration. So yeah, that's my first mistake of this game. Other than that, I won the roll-off to go, and I chose first, which is pretty much a Vyros 2 thing. Because of my speed, I feel like I can leverage the ability to go first and kind of counter out the scoring advantage going second has. With pretty much all my other red lists, I prefer to go second. And for some reason, I thought I went second this game, but I guess I got to go first. It came up in a later game. But enough talk. I move my Griffons and everything up the board, and I try and keep my support back, because if the Storm Striders, which they probably do have range, if the Storm Striders have range to any of these models, I want the electrical leaps bouncing around my front line, and I don't want them bouncing around into my back line. That is, and I can use shield guards to help and make sure that this happens. This is something I've learned from playing against a lot of E-Leap Signar, and a lot of trick shot and crap like that. For example, Ace and Caine 0, which are in this list, I need to do my shield guards correctly so that nothing's bouncing into Arcanists and Magisters and things that I care about. I would much rather them go into my armor 20 or armor 18, because decel doesn't affect trick shot into those models. So, that being said, I just get up the board. His turn, he comes up, he shoots a shot into my Trident on my right-hand side, and whatever, I think it does a couple points of damage right here. Besides that, he's not in any of the zones, and he's more or less just outside of all my throw ranges, besides Trident. So that being said, there's a couple of ways I can play this game. From experience, there's not really, I mean, I can hide my army behind this forest and just chill. And the thing is he's going to pop feet, and I'm not going to be able to fit my whole army behind the hill, behind the forest, and I have a Trident, and it gives him a chance to start picking off my backline, use his feet to kill my Trident for sure, and then any Griffons that are outside of the forest, which doesn't sound that bad, but it also it plays a longer game and it gives him more opportunities to show that he's a good player and make good plays. So instead, my play here is I want to completely jam him out of this scenario and then put an awkward Griffon right here that will lock the Storm Strider from being able to fit over that house, because then something has to come and kill him and there's stuff in the way, and also lock the Storm Strider from being able to get out of this zone. And then I want to put the rest of everything else behind this forest, put a Manticore behind the Trident that is going to end up right here, and put another Griffon right over here that can lock the Storm Strider out from getting into those zones. Then put a Magister on the flag and put him in a really, really awkward position where he's locked in a spot that he doesn't have line of sight to the Magister with really anything. So, and he's also, it's definitely going to be a feat turn, and it's a situation where there's lots and lots of opportunities for me to either win on assassination with Imperitus getting feet moved around, getting a huge attrition swing and a scenario swing. It's I feel like it's the play to make, and so that's pretty much what I do. Trident goes up, and most importantly, it's protecting my backline. With him stuck right here, all my core that I put right here in the middle, my backline can support and be very reasonably safe in doing so. And also, it protects Vyros too. Vyros 2 can play forward, catch everything in my D-cell bubble, and he can have like 5 shield guards around him and just be like, you're going to have to mage sight, and then you're probably going to have your Firefly effect on Siege, and you're going to do some work with it. I'm definitely going to shield guard that one. I'm going to probably let an E-Leap be what triggers. I'll keep my shield guard that's base to base with Vyros 2. I'll let him take whatever is going to be an E-Leap type shot from either a Firefly or a Storm Strider, probably a Firefly, and let the E-Leap trigger the armor-piercing shot on Vyros 2. So that way it's not a boostable shot, and there'll be less damage. And I have that control built in here. But anyhow, back to what the Trident does. Trident just walks up, gets its full tokens, is 5 away from Ace, is a Rat 9, needs 5s to hit because Vyros 2 goes first to get right there to keep him in 10 for Veteran Leader. And the Trident with no boost pretty much just blows Ace off the board. And then puts some shots into a Charger over here. And then repos in further, and then Griffon comes flying across the map, and Manticore runs behind Trident, and it's just like how I planned. Yep. So, that seems pretty dang good. And it is now my opponent's turn. Also, my feat is up. The token was thrown down, but I still need to move it. Whoops. No, I don't want to do that. Delete. Yes, delete. No. There we go. My opponent looks at this. It's definitely a feat turn. And his goal is kill all this and kill all this. And I think that's a pretty good goal. So that being said, how it works out is Triumph shoots his maintenance phase shot. Siege activates, stays pretty much right where he is, and does a fire for effect shot that lands right here and catches all 3 of them. And triggers armor piercing, does pretty good damage to the Trident, Manticore, and the Griffon. A general theme on this feat turn is all of his boosted rolls were over 10. There's a lot of 12s, a lot of 14s, a lot of 5, 5, 6s. Very good rolls. And so Storm Shredder comes up, knocks down Griffon, and shoots some into Trident and Manticore. And then he's shooting over here, and I think he, with like a, I can't remember what it was, but stuff shoots and kills this Griffon. And so Imperitus walks 3 inches over to here. And now that Imperitus is over there, Triumph and the Charger and a whole bunch of other models start shooting on Imperitus. And they trigger Phoenix Protocol, great damage rolls, and do about 4 or 6 damage to Phoenix Protocol. And at this point, My Griffon's on like 8 boxes. My Trident's on like 7 boxes. My Manticore is on like 10 boxes. And my Imperitus, who's right here, is on maybe 12 boxes. This Griffon is dead, and this Griffon is full health. So Stormstrider goes and starts shooting over here and leaves the... no, between Caine and Stormstrider, all these models over here are still alive, but this Griffon dies. And the Trident's on 1 box, and Imperitus is more or less where the same. Everything's more or less the same, except for Trident's on 1 box at the end of it. Now, here's my mistake, my biggest mistake of this game. It's a small little error, but it's very important. I take this Griffon with the feet move from this Griffon up here dying, and I move this Griffon farther forward so it can walk instead of charge to the objective. What I should have done is taken this Griffon and moved him right into the zone so I can test this zone right here. Or this Arcanist, or whatever. Just put something in that zone. That 1 point difference is absolutely critical. And it doesn't happen. So, what does happen is I score this flag, and he scores this zone. If he had not scored that zone, I just need to score 4 points, which is trivial to do, and I would win the game this turn. But because I did not do that, I will not be winning the game this turn, because the most I can score is 1, 2, 3, and 4, unless I can get something onto that flag and remove everything, which isn't going to happen. So my goal is to do that. Oh, I want to go back. My player played a good game, did a lot of really good things, and all that, so I don't want to take anything away, but I do want to make one critique, and this is my only critique for this entire game of his play, is that he needed to focus things to kill them. Probably his goal should have been to kill this entire pile right here and just ignore Imperitus and put a charger or something in front of him. I know that Siege's feat has a lot of value on the first hit. And yeah, put a shot of something into each one of these things. But how he focused on Imperitus and he focused on this Griffon over here who could have been ignored. No reason to go after that little guy. That damage could have gone in and destroyed the rest of this. His dice were hot, and I mean, in reality, his dice were hotter than he should have done, and more damage came out. But on average dice, I believe he can realistically get a shot into everything that he wants to get good damage for his feet, and also kill this entire pile. And if he kills the Manticore, and he kills the Trident, and he kills that Griffon, something of value over here on this right-hand side is going to live. As it is, because he doesn't get those things killed, I can kill everything over here. Manticore can go kill the Stormstrider. Trident and Imperitus can kill all of this. Griffons can come up and kill the objectives. This Griffon over here can go kill this Firefly. And I basically take the entire scenario board. That's the situation. That's what happens. My 1 health Trident and my 9 box Manticore, they fantastically destroy pretty much everything over here. I mean, the details get a little weird, but that's more or less what happens. I put my objective 1 attack 1 damage roll on the Griffon right here because I want to reliably kill this objective. I feel like if I do, I should, put myself in a position to win the game reliably the following turn. Also, it's worth mentioning, my dice are pretty dang good. There's one point where, because of pushbacks, I accidentally get a Griffon over here, push back, and I forget to repo my Trident. Manticore is only going to get 2 attacks on this Stormstrider instead of 4, because the idea was I would put him in a spot where he would get pushed back into my Trident and be able to make all 4 of his initial melee attacks and on average dice reliably kill the Stormstrider with concentrated power from this Arcanist and this Magister running over to the flag. But the Griffon gets pushed back and ends up right in the spot where Manticore needs to stand for that, so it's no longer valid. I still have Imperitus if I need him. I end up sending in Manticore and I boost 2 damage rolls because it's a 1-inch pushback and he has 1-inch reach, so I go base to base. and get 2 attacks, boosted damage rolls, and that kills the Storm Strider from almost full health. That was pretty lucky dice on my part. If not, I have to send in Imperitus, because killing the Storm Strider is absolutely critical. Besides him and Triumph, it's one of the last things that can do damage to me. Triumph gets slammed and knocked down and shot up by the Trident, and is against the wall back there, and is kind of a threat, but not as much anymore. After that bit of luck happens from my mess up, Imperitus goes in and kills Triumphant Charger and a whole bunch of mechanics, and yeah, everything pretty much works out how it was supposed to. I would have liked to have gotten to Siege, but there was just too much stuff in the way, and I scored 4, making the score 5-1. And my opponent looks at this, and his play is kill a whole bunch of crap and score. So, let me remember here. Did I take 2 pictures here? I did take 2 pictures. Yes. So, his plan is basically as follows. Firefly, go kill this Griffon who's damaged. Between Siege and Caine and the Firefly and... Jeez, I can't remember what else. Imperitus and the Trident die basically just to Siege as fire for effect. And Caine's. And Stormshire walks up, beats up these 2 Griffins real good. And Firefly walks over here and kills this Griffon, which scores him the zone. And I think Caine with a trick shot killed the Arcanist that was back here. And all of a sudden, this looks not so good for me, because I don't have very much models left. Very much. Great English. He scored this flag as well, so he scored 2 there, bringing the score to 5-3. So in order to win, I need to score 3 points. Youchers. Got this one easy in the bag. Got this one easy in the bag. So I somehow need to score this zone. And how I... Oh, yeah. Worth mentioning. This Griffin right here dies to the fire roll. So what ends up happening is... This Griffin right here walks over here, beats up on the Firefly a little bit. Manticore walks over here, kills that Firefly a little bit. That builds up some synergy. And then the basic plan is... Vyros 2 is going to come flying across the map, kill the Firefly, quick work shot, and kill the duder, the junior, who's a 14-14 with no camp and 5 boxes. And that sounds pretty realistic until I realize that I have to do Easy Rider, because I didn't bring the Pathfinder objective, to get myself to here, meaning I only am going to have 2 focus, which means I'm trying to hard roll to hit the junior, which means I have to hard roll an 8, and then I also have to hard roll a 6 to kill, which isn't that bad, to kill the junior. However, I've got this little Arcanist over here, and you know, my dice have been hot this entire game, his dice have been hot this entire game, so I'm like, yeah, whatever, let's go for it. Little Arcanist walks up his 6 inches, does his little 8-inch force strike, needs a 9 to hit, no problem. Hits the 10 with a crit. Junior gets knocked down, and then he rolls the, I think it was 7 or an 8 that he needed to kill Junior, and all of a sudden the plan becomes way more likely. That was a crazy critical dice roll to change the math for this attack here, because I cannot back up this turn. I cannot play a long scenario game anymore. Siege and that Arcane Shield Stormstrider are basically unstoppable. I could have Vyros walk over here and snipe out Junior, which gets rid of the Firefly and Junior. Oh, why didn't I just do that? Because then, gosh dang it. That's so much easier than this stupid complicated plan I did. Whatever, it worked. Now I'm just embarrassed. Yeah. Yeah, that would have worked way better. Anyhow, my plan worked. Vyros did. Easy Rider flew across the map, killed Firefly, and sat in this zone, and I won the game with 8-3. Whew. Yeah, and my opponent was great. I think he did that pretty dang well, besides the focus firing thing, which is probably not a Siege 1 tactic. It's probably not something he's done in previous Siege 1 games, or really ever you should probably do with Siege 1. You want to put as much damage out there as you can, which means taking your shots in all kinds of different places to trigger those armor piercings from feet. But yeah, that's at least that was my take on the situation. And this all would have been irrelevant if I had just moved something into this zone. And also on that note, he forgot to take a Firefly going back in time to right here. This Firefly with a focus never activated. He could have boosted and done that 1 point of damage he needed to this Trident to kill it, which would have... it was, yeah, this turn right here, which would have made it so that a lot less died. However, it completely would have been irrelevant if I had moved this in too. So each of our mistakes were kind of a wash, because if I move this guy in and he doesn't score that point, I can still score 4 points very easily. And I don't have to kill, I mean, I do have to kill the Stormshire, but I don't have to kill all this other crap. I can ignore Triumph. I can ignore the Firefly. I can ignore the Triumph, the Charger. I can just walk a Griffon over there and beat up that objective, and I can put Imperitus and this Manticore onto that Storm Strider, and this Griffon can fully load with concentrated power and go kill that that thingy, that Firefly. That's all there would have been to it if I had just moved this Griffon into the zone right here. That's it. But I had to do things the hard way. I had to close out the game the hard way. I don't know what's wrong with me, but that's okay. That's how it ended. Everyone, thank you for watching.